Hi everyone, and thank you for watching. For the entirety of this video, I'm going to be behind the scenes, which is unusual for me. I like to be seen when I make a video. I want you to see everything that's going through my mind, all of my expressions, everything. You get the full experience. But this time, because there's so much information, and I'm gonna need to read, and I'm gonna be using the majority of my memory, but I'm gonna need all of my senses for this. So I'm gonna be behind the screen and behind the scenes for the entirety of this video. So what's this video gonna be about? Now, in this video, I'm gonna talk about the origins of man. And a lot of us wonder where we come from, and the whole story of mankind, and you can never get a straight answer depending on who you ask. One popular answer that we get to this is that we were seeded by aliens, or by extraterrestrials, or by some advanced human beings. And even though it's very popular, a lot of people see it as sci-fi and not real, and just someone's imagination going wild. Of course, it's maybe their imagination's going wild, but there's a huge amount of factual stuff going on in there, and it's hard you can't just ignore and throw it away for that reason. But in this video, what I'm going to show you in regards to that, or explain to you, is that this is nowhere near as crazy as it seems once you start laying out things that are happening today right before our very eyes. Particularly for the past couple of decades, some things have been happening right before our eyes that they said that those advanced humans did to us for us to become who we became. And once you realize that today we're doing the exact same thing, then the story doesn't seem ridiculous anymore. The story warrants that we give it a closer look and really pay attention to it, and rethink and go back and look at our history to try to find out where we come from. And of course, it's important to know where we come from, because how can we know where we're going if we don't know where we come from? It's a very important question, and I think a lot of people spend their entire lives searching for the answer to this question. Some people sacrifice and throw away everything in order to find out the answer to this question. And I think it becomes a lot of our reasons, if not all people's reasons, in their lives to find out the answer to this question. And some people turn to religion, some people turn to science, some people combine science and religion. People go in a lot of different directions to find answers to this. But in this video, I'm going to talk about it from the perspective of the Anunnaki, the story of the Anunnaki. People consider it crazy talk, sci-fi, this and that. But we're gonna have an open mind on this, and some really interesting things are gonna come up, I think, in regards to this if we take a look at it and look at what's going on today. And what I'm gonna focus on when I say what's going on today is DNA and the research that's been like fast forwarded about DNA over like the past 70 years. It's been amazing. It's been incredible. And we're not just, the research isn't just advancing. As the research advances, medicine, things related to knowledge about human biology and making humans better and this type of thing, and just understanding the genome and doing things with the genome, this stuff is starting to look like stuff that's straight out of a sci-fi movie. And if you look at that stuff and you look at the stuff that they talked about in the storybooks about Anunnaki, it's coming full circle back to what we believed was just fantasy before. Now, it's starting to not look like fantasy at all. So without further explaining, let me start the video. So Here's how I'm going to do the video. A quick rundown. I'm going to start off by giving you a quick overview of the history. It's going to be very, very brief overview. I'm going to just go over things that I think are relevant to my scope right now, and explaining what I'm trying to explain. And then for the second half of the video, I'm going to talk about the advancements in DNA and what's going on, how DNA is being used, the present, the future, and the whole possibilities of that a lot of people may not be aware of or are aware of, but they never thought about, like all this huge potential and what may be happening behind the scenes already. Like we're probably deep in some deep experiments right now. So without further explaining again, let's get started. So I'll start from the very beginning. You got to start from somewhere. So about 250,000 years ago, they say that the first humans came up. They were able to track and trace the first humans to back around 250,000 years ago. And those were the first humans, and there were a bunch of different humans that transformed and evolved over those 250,000 years. But what's really mysterious about humans is 50,000 years ago. This 50,000 years ago, what's so special about that? This is where they tracked the first modern humans. And they call these modern humans mitochondrial Eve and chromosomal Adam. And they were traced all the way back to Africa. So it is believed that the very first modern human beings they started in Africa around 50,000 years ago. And how they started, no one really knows. That's one of the biggest mysteries, and we'll come back to that in a moment. Now, of course, mitochondrial Eve, chromosomal Adam Eve, of course, is a reference to the Bible, whether it's just a play on words or whether they really think it's a direct match to the Bible. I'm not sure. Maybe it's a combination of both. But of course, mitochondrial Eve refers to that women are the only sex that carry the mitochondria and pass the lineage of mitochondria to children, and mitochondria make the energy. And so all the energy needs come from the mother. They come from the maternal line, the mother, the grandmother, and they come like that. You don't get it from the men. So the energy comes from the women. A lot of women, the woman's side controls a lot in terms of genetics. And a lot of new agers, I guess kind of like myself, I guess you can put me in that category to a degree, believe in the Anunnaki story. And in the Anunnaki story, it is believed that aliens, and for me, I don't necessarily believe that it's aliens from another planet, came here to Earth and seeded mankind. They took maybe a lower human being, or they say a monkey, or some other animal that's similar to us today, and they made them smarter, or they made them more suitable to the things that they wanted them to do during those times. And the story goes that they wanted to make them basically make them into slaves. So in order to make them into slaves, they had to make them smarter. And when you talk about making somebody smart and stuff like this, intelligence. It depends on what type of intelligence, of course. You can't compare the intelligence of one animal to the intelligence of another, because they're intelligent for what they have to do, why they're here. Now, a lot of that story, the Anunnaki story, is it's a lot of people believe that it is referenced from the Bible, and they believe that Adam and Eve is actually symbolism for the first human beings that were seeded back 50,000 years ago, and it is believed that those first humans were seeded by the Anunnaki. And a lot of this information comes from the emerald tablets. The emerald tablets are 5 to 10,000 years old, and the Bible is approximately 2,000 years old. And like a lot of this, even though it doesn't directly say it word like verbatim, you can't just totally say that what's in the Bible directly came from the tablet. It's similar, but you can't say it's the exact same thing. But it's similar enough to say maybe these are the same things. And if they're both, one's in the tablets, those ancient tablets and text, and one's in the Bible, then it's safe to assume that the Bible got it from those ancient tablets. So a lot of people believe that the Bible is it's passed down information from other places. The Bible isn't the beginning. And also there's other things in the Bible that are on those texts. It's not just about the Adam and Eve part. There's lots of other things that's in the Bible that are also in those texts. So just something to keep in mind. Not saying anything means anything, but just something to keep in mind with that. And it's well documented that human evolution data shows that humans suddenly improved in a very relatively short amount of time. I've made a video about this. I just talked about it, went way in depth on it. It was the video was something like what was the name of that video? Origins of Man Part 2. I think a lot of people slept on that video. I thought it was a pretty good video. I put a lot of things together. Check that out if you like this video and you want to dive deeper into that. Check that video out if you like. I'll throw it in the comment section. But with this whole story and all, a lot of people piece together their own theories. When I say people, particularly the supposed great minds, the people that are respected, the faces of science, and the faces of they supposedly know everything. And I'm going to talk about a couple of theories that came from these great minds and people. And some of the theories they sound ridiculous, but they're really the best thing that we have, because no one really knows it all. It's really people just kind of searching in the dark with a lot of this stuff. But the way that they believe that the first humans really accelerated their intelligence and evolution. One theory says that in that area in Africa, they say the monkeys came out of trees. Some people say monkeys, we evolved from monkeys. And they came out of trees. They were forced because of weather or some type of quick land change. And they had to eat food from the ocean. They ate seafood. Their brains grew real fast. It speeded up their genetics. And that was the catalyst. That's one theory. Another theory is that there were ice ages during that time. And it's believed that ice ages speed up genetics. It'll likely kill a bunch of people, but the people that it doesn't kill, it's going to really speed up genetics through epigenetic changing. Epigenetic meaning outside influences, speeding up the inside of the body, the genetics of inside of the body. That's one theory, and it's decent. I don't think it's that's super crazy. And another theory is that outer space debris, and when I say outer space debris, I'm talking about comets, meteors, and things that come from outer space to Earth. They drop viruses and genetic material down to Earth, and it is said that viruses can speed up the DNA of organisms. Especially, we're talking like brand new viruses from who knows where in outer space, and that's kind of a shot in the dark, but it's not crazy talk, because viruses do exist on space debris, according to NASA and the people that talk about these things and provide the information. But so those are a couple of other theories, but the most far-fetched theory that I think, and I've already talked about it already, but that humans were genetically modified from lower animals, and that where they genetically modified us. And that sounds like crazy talk, and it sounds really far-fetched, but I'm here to tell you that this is not crazy talk. After you hear what I'm about to explain to you right now, I think you're not going to see it as crazy talk anymore. It's actually pretty obvious what I'm about to say, but I think this needs to be broken down and explained simply. So here's why it's not crazy talk, and I'm gonna talk about DNA and the whole DNA timeline. Now, DNA was discovered around 1860, but it was rediscovered around 1950. When I say rediscovered, they extensively started studying it around 1950. So the past 70 years, we've and when I say we, I mean, I'm talking about scientists, but we support the scientists. We pay the taxes. We support them whether we realize it or not. So we are a part of them. We have made some really huge gains in knowledge and awareness when it comes to DNA and what DNA can do, and all the full potential of DNA. And as we've learned and found out, we're taking that knowledge and we're actually applying it and using it and making big changes. But okay, let's talk about some of the detailed things in regards to DNA, so that we can see what this is leading up to. Now let's talk about cell division, which is called mitosis. Mitosis, or cell division, is controlled by DNA, and cell division, how fast cells divide and how slow they divide, it determines aging, how fast we age. So it's real important to a lot of people. And when you talk about that type of thing, cell division, mitosis, you have to talk about telomeres. Telomeres is a part of the genetic material, actually part of the chromosomes that regulate reproduction of cells. And of course, this is aging as well. So a big part of it is aging, and that's a whole other mystery too, because there's another belief that our DNA was tampered with and our lifespans were a lot longer back in the past. That's a whole other thing. I'm not going to go into that. So genes are basically genetic instructions, and it is said that, it's not said, but it has been, well, it is said, because I don't know for sure, but the entire human genome was mapped out over a 10-year span back in the 90s. So according to this information, they know everything that the gene instructions can instruct for. They mapped out everything. Well, they don't know what they can actually do. They only know what a certain amount can do, but all of it is mapped out. They know all the sequences, but they don't know exactly what everything can do. And there's 3 billion sequences of these instructions, and the instructions consist of A, T, G, and C, and A, T, G, and C stand for something. You can look on the screen to see what it stands for right now. I'll put it on the screen. But A, T, C, and G are the instructions of the DNA, and these different arrangements of the A, T, G, and C of DNA, they tell the body to perform certain things and unlock and do certain functions. Now, I just mentioned to you about a lot of they don't know everything. They don't know what all of the genetic sequences can do, and actually they only know about 3% of what these the genetic sequences can do. Only 3%, and they consider the rest junk DNA. So they're saying that 97% of the genetic DNA sequences are junk. It has no purpose. It can't do anything. It's just junk. And nobody believes that. So no one, a lot of people don't, some people think it's a lie. Some people think, they just don't know, it's real fishy. And one of my beliefs, it's well believed by a lot of people. A lot of people believe that genetics are, they react and they express themselves based on what the earth does, what the environments on earth do, culture, just how we experience the earth, and that's what triggers genetics. But I think a huge amount that is not being considered because no one knows where to start with it. And if a scientist like talked about this stuff, it would be career suicide, and no one would take them seriously, that type of thing. And I'm talking about like planetary transits, astrological things, things related to the spirit world. And when you talk about academic science, they love to separate those two things because they don't know how they merge together. But one of my beliefs is that a huge amount of it is that, and I think it's the same thing. It's just a matter of knowing how to merge the two and knowing where one starts and one finishes. Now I'm gonna back in 1997. They mapped the whole genome in the 90s. Back in 1997, they cloned the first organism, and it was a sheep. So they cloned a sheep back in 1997. And they say that no human being has been cloned yet. Yeah, right. But if you go on the internet, there's a lot of people saying that lots of human beings have been cloned, but there's no one's coming up with the proof. And I don't blame them for not coming up with the proof, because that could be real dangerous for them. Because I think people will come to their house, come to their house, come to the door and find them. I think you're playing with fire when you start talking about cloning, because a lot of people, that's you don't play with that. You don't play with that type of thing. And even to me, I'll admit that's craziness to me. And it's like crossing the line and what you're willing to play with and do. I'm talking spiritually. You're putting yourself in under some really tough spiritual circumstances, and I don't think anything good can come out of it, is what I'm trying to say. But since they know how taboo cloning is particularly of a human being, because of belief that people would think that they're playing God, and this would just make people crazy. They knew that, and this is my opinion here, they knew that they couldn't just come right out and just say, we're cloning people, or say, or even ask, can we clone people, and this and that. So what they're doing is they're coming out with things step by step to kind of warm you up to this stuff, and kind of get it in your mind and kind of ease it in there so that you don't freak out when they introduce it. And some examples of this, I just told you about. They're mapping the whole genome, and by mapping the whole genome, they can heal illnesses and know how to prevent us from becoming ill, and extend our life and do all this great stuff. And then even if you're if this goes against your morals, how can you argue against making humanity better and healing people? It puts you in quite the conundrum. And I guess this sets you up in the future so they can just introduce, boom, clones. And another thing is even this is kind of very recent, stem cells. And if you don't know, stem cells are basically undifferentiated cells of a multicellular organism that can become differentiated cells, which basically means cells that can become anything. They can become a heart, an eyeball, skin, anything. And these cells are obtained from fetuses, or from fetuses, which this is, you're playing with fire when you start talking about, this type of thing, and, I guess for good reason. And I guess the way they're kind of, taming that and, making that not as scary as it actually probably is they're saying they're doing it in a laboratory, and they're not using real people, but, yeah, right. Okay, so now we're going to come to, I guess, the conclusion of all of that. Just talked about DNA, and what I want you to take away from that, and what I'm trying to, the point I'm trying to get across is what I'm about to, I guess, talk about now. We are gods. We are just like the gods that they say genetically modified us and made us become us. Today, we are those gods. And when I say gods, I'm saying gods with the lowercase g, or a demigod, and a god in the lower hierarchy of gods, which, we are. But, more, that really brings that term to life when you start talking about it in this way. And we can create life at will, and it's happening now. And that gives you God status or demigod status. So it's possible that a regular intelligent human found a way to fast forward evolution of man. And that's back then, according to that story, it's just really advanced aliens or humans, but really it's just someone that's way smarter. And because they're so smart, you call them a god. It's not anything different. They have to pay in the spiritual world, just like lower people, us people and animals have to do. And I believe, based on the way research is always suppressed, about 20 years back, that we have an advanced human already. And what I mean by advanced human, like we have like, I think the clones are already out. I think they're already putting them out. And when you like, why would you not? You can, like, if you think about, like, what's already been done, they could make some really, like, some of the smartest ever, the greatest human beings ever, with all kinds of abilities, all kinds of unlocked paranormal senses and all this stuff. I'm pretty sure that's in the domain of what DNA can code and unlock also. So I'm pretty sure it's already here. Why it's too great of an opportunity for I don't like to use this word, but I'll use it. Evil or greedy people to pass up, especially that people that are drunk on power. Now, I'll read this. What if you could take a partial procedure from this practice, aka stem cell therapy, and slowly introduce it to the world? Okay, I've already talked about that, how they ease it into our consciousness, so that hopefully it's okay in the future. But I'll repeat this, and by reading this piece, hypothetically, a superior human can already be made. Would these people play along with their inferior god? Well, if we made them, then we would be their inferior god, because they would be better than us. Or would they break free and do the right thing? And what I mean by break free and do the right thing is because a higher evolved human is morally and spiritually evolved as well. So they would have those, that type of character. And if they're morally and spiritually evolved, then who is to say that if they somehow broke free, who is to say that they wouldn't come and try to make us do the right thing, what they deem to be the right thing, based on their superior intellect, morality, and spirituality. And even if they're right, who wants to be forced to do some right thing? When I say right thing, I'm putting it in quotation marks. So do you see where this could go crazy at? Where this could go into left field at? That's what I'm saying with this. It would be just a matter of waking them up, realizing their superiority, and becoming, who knows what. Like, they could, if they were to break free, break loose, and find out who they are and what they're capable of. It could just open up Pandora's box. So, like, in order for this to happen, and I'm going way into the hypothetical here, they would have to really teach them and kind of keep them locked up. If they have a superior intellect and all this stuff, and they're so advanced, they'd have to really control what they know, and really have some checks and balances in place, so that they don't, break free and just overtake the leadership and just turn turn things into something that they don't want it to be. When I say they, I'm talking about the powers that be, you know, the mysterious they, in parentheses, the they, the man sitting next to the man. They are trying to accomplish this feat through physical mechanical science. Like, they're just trying to do it through DNA, but I think they're leaving out the mental, spiritual, and those higher components, because they don't have access to it. They're doing it the primitive way. And the mental, spiritual, and higher stuff is available to all of us. And I urge you all to embrace attaining the highest degree of self-mastery as possible through the mind, the spirit, all the stuff that's available to you. You have full access of a lot of your technology. Do not doubt yourself. Understand your place in this universe, your God status. Understand that, and begin looking and trying to search and unlock all of these possibilities. That's what I'm saying. It's coming directly from me in what I just said. And by doing this, you won't be left behind when all of this stuff, just hits the fan, and when everything just gets way out of hand. When and I'm speaking like in the future, when all this stuff can eventually and inevitably start to grossly get abused and weaponized. It's only a matter of time. It's straight human nature. And I'm pretty sure a lot of stuff is behind the scenes, and they're just waiting for the opportunity. So that's my video. That's that's the point that trying to aim at, and what I want to talk about here. And I went way into the hypothetical in this video, but what's not hypothetical, and what I think you that can't really be denied, is that when you start talking about the world of genetic modification and cloning and you can tamper with the genetics and DNA and all of this stuff, that is a very, very real thing. We can do today what they considered to be sci-fi back in the Anunnaki days. And those aliens that were doing that back then in those fantasy books, I'm using the quotation marks, we are those aliens now. And those roles can be reversed. Theoretically, hypothetically, those roles can be reversed. And if we made really, really advanced beings, they could flip the script and they could become our gods quite easily. And things could just become just completely something else. So that's my video. I hope you enjoyed. Thank you so much for sitting through all of this. I love you all. You take care of yourself, and until next time, I'm gone.